the penultimate round of the 2016 World Sports Series here at GPVWC. It's been a long and hard-fought season, and as we come into the closing stages, we arrive at the longest track on our 8-round calendar, and what a track it is as well. Spa Francorchamps. It's 7 kilometers of pure Belgian glory. And we welcome you all today, whether you're watching the football on another screen, whether you're watching just the racing here today. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful evening. On cameras once again, we have Mr. Ben Willis. I'm James Kirk. And we've just had qualifying where the top 3 include newcomer and replacement for Risto Capit, who is our current championship leader, of course, Niki Jakovic. He's taken pole position by 0.7 of a second, and he's ahead of Argo Tadare with his best qualifying performance of the year. And then the second of the Vodbuls, David Francic in third. Remember, today, the only round of the season where neither Kevin Siggy nor Risto Capit are going to be taking part. And Niki Jakovic was looking very on form in qualifying, and so he may become a new winner here today. Just to quickly go over the drivers' standings, hopefully, and the team standings. It's at this point where my laptop decides to close down, but there we are. We should be all good. As we already mentioned, Risto Capit, he leads the Drivers' Championship, but just whether he will lead until the final race in Monza is another thing completely. Ruud Heestevik, is 37 points behind. He can make that up in this evening alone, so the gauntlet has been laid. It's time for the Dutchman to see whether he can make it. A further 24 points back then from Heestevik is David Francic. We then have Sven de Vries in fourth, a further 2 points behind him. And Kevin Siggy, who of course isn't here today, a further 7 points behind him. Just to round out the top 10, we then got Hins, Olsen, who's not here today, Fournier, who's going to start from the back of the grid today, Nico Barclay, who's not here today, and Cameron Brewster starting in, or rounding out the top 10 there. So the top 10 covered by 122 points. By the way, the main story from today, can Heestevik close up enough on Capit to overtake him with 1 round to go? Then moving into the Teams Championships, things are looking a lot more certain there. Vodbull Racing, they've just had a great campaign, and David Francic and Risto Capit together, they formed a wonderful, wonderful team. Niki Jakovic, of course, taking pole position on his debut, much like Hani Al-Sabti earlier in the year. It looks like those two are going to go on and secure that team championship for Vodbull Racing. But they are still only 39 points ahead of Adonis Engineering, who, if luck swings their way, could take the fight to the final round. In third place, then, we have Enterprise GP. Of course, without Kevin Siggy today, they're 80 points behind Adonis, though. They look pretty much set on for third, with YDF1 a further 76 points behind on 134 points, and then Drake Racing very close behind there, actually 8 points behind on 126. You got other people quite close in proximity there as well. Ice Cold 14 behind them, Epic 6 behind Ice Cold, Apex, Mazurek, all within 6 points of Epic. So the midfield in terms of this championship, and the team's championship, of course, looking very, very close, looking very, very competitive. And we certainly hope that we're going to have 2 ultra-competitive races here today. It's, as I say, the longest circuit on our calendar. And even though Niki Jakovic has no weight for this first race, and it must be said, his race pace as well makes it seem like he's pretty much odds-on favourite to take the race one here today, win today, I should say. It means nothing for race 2, where, of course, the weight balance comes into effect, and around the various corners on the circuit, and especially on the straights, you are going to get bogged down so much. And we saw how hard it was for a newcomer like Hani Al-Sabti to do well in race 2 with a lot of weight ballast. He, of course, only finished 15th in Canada race 2. We'll see whether Niki Jakovic, if he does indeed go on to take the race 1 win here today, whether he can make a better fist of things. So, end of the warm-up session. We'll take you through the entirety of our first race today. Under 20 cars, unfortunately. I think it's only 17 who have turned up for today. So, numbers dwindling near the end of the season. But I like to think that it's the quality that counts and not the quantity. And we do have some very good quality drivers here today. To give a quick shout out to some new drivers who are joining us, actually, we have Adam Maguire, who's coming in at Hinz Motorsport. We also have Wolfgang Hans, who makes his debut at the league for Ice Cold Racing, and Randu Muru coming in to replace Kevin Siggy at Simtech Enterprise GP. We were expecting either Haniel Sapti or, of course, Carson Wilhelm, who was his teammate for that Canada round. Neither of them turning up today, so Randu Muru stepping in there to make it an all-Estonian lineup. In terms of your penalties for today as well, we've got 3 back of the grids in the form of Fournier, Morby, and Shepherd, and Daniel Benefield, who is here today. I didn't notice him on the first pass. He is here today. He's got a +5 penalty. So those are your penalties. As I say, we'll look at the entire grid when we get there, which we should be moving on to in a little moment. Our race director, Chris Williamson, just reminding everybody to take care. We have seen a couple of interesting Spa rounds in years gone by. If it hasn't been from a standards point of view, it's been from a track cutting point of view. And I know for certain that Mr. Ben Willis, of course, one of the DC directors, not looking forward to the evening's work and the week's work ahead when it comes to cutting in qualifying and possibly in the race as well. I remember one year, I think it was 2013, the first year I commentated on this championship, where half the field ended up getting time penalties because of cutting. And it was a big mess. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we're not going to have any of that here today, as Mr. Chris Williamson advances us to the next session. It's time for race 1 then. Everyone lining up, all nice and dandy, and we can take you through our 17 runners. It is newcomer and replacement for Capit, Nicky Jakovic, leading us off on pole position. No weight ballast on that car either, so things looking very good for him. We then got Argo Tadare with his highest qualifying of the year, P2 for the Estonian. Behind him is the second of the Vodbuls, David Francic. Remember, he is carrying 18 kilograms of weight ballast from being 4th in... Actually, no, I lied. 27 kilograms of weight ballast for being 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. Behind him then is Bart de Vos for YDF1. The Belgian starting very high up, actually. Then have Thomas Hinz, P5 for Drake Motorsport. We then have Ruud Hasterbeek. Can he overhaul Capit today? He's going to have to deal with 36 kilograms of weight ballast in his first race anyway from P6. We then have newcomer Adam Maguire, P7 for Hinz Motorsport, with Wolfgang Hans making his debut for Ice Cold Racing P8. Then the race will start from P9. The American has 18 kilograms of weight ballast to deal with in race 1. And the top 10 is rounded out by Randu Muru, making his debut in the series for Simtech Enterprise GP. Tom Parker will start from P11. For Epic Racing, we then have Cameron Brewster, also driving for Epic Racing P12. Daniel Benfield, after his 5-place grid penalty, starts 13 for Hinz Motorsport. And Prez Pestovs starts P14 for Viking Racing. And then we have our 3 back of the grid penalty people. We've got Chris Shepherd in the Apex, Philip Morby in the Drake, and Jeffrey Fournier in the second of the Apexes. Or the API. I think it's Apexes, and then API just sounds a little bit silly, doesn't it? But either way, if you make it to the end of this race, odds are that you will probably score points. Only 2 retirements, and if you make it to the end, you will achieve that. So certainly a nice incentive for everybody to stay clean, keep it real, keep it safe, just have a bit of fun. Bar always throws up some good racing. There's so many overtakings to look out for. No less turn 1 and the run down to Lacombe following the Kemmel Straight. I'm just looking at Nicky Jakovic really lighting up the rear tyres, almost going around on the formation lap, which nobody wants to do, especially on your debut here. But as I've mentioned, looking very, very strong is Nicky. He's got a good racing pedigree in these cars. He takes part over at Sim Racing Club in their equivalent series, the Porsche Carrera Cup. And he's not one of the fastest. Well, actually, I should say he's not the fastest, but he is one of the fastest in the field. And to be fair, I think it's no surprise that we see him so far up here. But the question is, will he be able to maintain the form in qualifying through to the race? Can Argo Tadare provide a challenge? Will David Francic, of course, who's got championship aspirations of his own, can he provide a challenge to his new teammate? Or might Bart de Vos or Thomas Hinz sneak another podium? We shall wait and see. Starts to line up the grid then. It's a short run down to turn 1 before a very long run down to the Kemmel Straight. We've of course got a Rouge in there as well. It's tricky corners, a tricky start to the lap. I'm sure everyone's going to be navigating it correctly as we've got 2, 3, 4 and 5 lights in here for the first time at Spa. We're racing, and it's a great start from Jakovic, and it's a great start from David Franchic's teammate as well. As heading down into the first corner, it's a Vodball 1-2, I think. Algo to there, trying around the outside. No, it doesn't work. A Vodball 1-2. That could not have gone any better for Vodball Racing. Bart de Vos in P4. Ruud Heesterbeek has jumped a number of people to go up. Jumped one person, I can't remember who. I think it was Hinz, who's fallen down to P7. So Heesterbeek up to 5th. Wolfgang Hans with a good start as well, up to P6. So Hinz down to 7th, and De Vries down to 8th. And it looks like Argo today now under pressure from Bart de Vos as well. He qualified well, but his race is going awfully so far, down to P4 and off the podium before they've even hit Lecombe behind. They're going 3 wide into Lecombe, and Hinz takes back P6 from Wolfgang Hans, who now goes into contact with Sven De Vries, the American. Oh, up on the con behind De Vries and Brewster and Benefield, and oh, he gets pushed wide as well through Bruxelles. So the start of the race not going too well for Wolfgang. Oh wow, I've lost connection. That's a great start. Are you still there, Ben?
I'm still there.
You're still there. Commentate.
Oh god. Anyway, as I go through P1, it's still Jakovic from Francic, and De Vos is there now in 3rd. They're all sort of line astern now as they come through the Fangers chicane. And I think Park has just got past Maguire. And that is for P11, I think. Yes, P11 as they... they're still fighting around there. Morby there in 13th, looking for a way pass.
He's had a good
start. A little bit too far. He has indeed, yeah. He's come out from 16th, isn't he? So he's kept his nose clean. It's been a relatively clean first lap, actually.
Yeah, I mean, a number of people going over the Row Rouge, but apart from that, not much fisticuffs. I mean, you had Sven and Wolfgang, of course.
Yes, exactly, yeah. But apart from that, it's all been very clean. Fournier Shepherd, they've got an Apex little train going now. I think Shepherd just went wide through Blanchimont. But, and Morby and Fournier make a little bit of contact there into the bus stop, but Morby holds P13. Well held there.
So at the end of lap 1, though, it's Nicky Jakovic then.
Certainly
who, is striding away.
Striding away 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds faster than David Francic in P2 there. He's really striding away.
Down. And actually, well, I mean, we were asking the question whether Nicky might be a little bit generous to his teammate, give him the points if he's interested in overtaking Capit. No love lost, it seems. Nicky wants to make his own impression on the championship. I will be back in very
Certainly
soon.
Certainly will. Whilst you join, Argo Teter just slipstreams down the Kemmel Straight past Bart de Vos. Nice pass around the outside. That was for P3. And De Vos just couldn't do anything about the slipstream there, as he does cut the inside curve there of turn 7 quite badly.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a couple of people maybe over
just
exaggerating.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's
safe. As long as they slow up, though, I mean, that's the main point. You know, it's all about the time gained, isn't it? And so, you know, if there's a little note to not going over curbing, I should say, a bit too aggressively, I'm sure it wouldn't be too bad. As I say, okay, I'm back in now. It seems, so
I'll tell you what, have a look at P5, because Thomas Hinz is under all kinds of pressure.
He has got both the Adonai behind him. Remember, Heesterbeek with 36 kilograms of weight ballast, Sven De Vries with 18, and so you've got a very interesting little group here. And Hinz actually, incidentally, just misses out on weight ballast since he's currently P6 in the championship, having a great championship as well, the Australian. But he's going to have to use everything which he's learnt over the year to fend off the man who's currently vying for the Drivers' Championship. A little bit of a wiggle through Stavelot and out onto the back curve straight here. The run up to Blanchimont, the Australian goes. It's looking pretty good for him so far. I think Chris Shepherd lost a couple of positions there down to P14. But yeah, doing well for the moment, Thomas Hinds. Just through Blanchimont now with the two Adonai behind him. And it seems like his lack of weight ballast really helping him down there and not really much to worry about. Is further behind. Oh, that's Cameron Brewster off, it looks like. He was in the top 10. And he's getting absolutely mugged now. He's down to P13. Is Chris Shepherd going to go around the outside? Oh, he's going to force his way up the inside. And that is not a good move at all.
Not a good move.
Chris Shepherd, very opportunistic. And he said, thank you very much, I'll take the position. Randu Muru going incredibly wide to avoid a lot of them. Now, it's not a good lap at all there for Brewster. I'm not sure what happened during Blanchimont. Either way, he's down to P13. It looks like Randu Muru just completely missed a corner altogether. So back down to P15.
He's let him past, I think, because he went deep at the bus stop chicane to avoid the accident. So maybe he's let him past.
If so, that might be very sportsmanlike driving then. It was a legal overtake, my bad. To look back up at the front then, it is Nicky Jakovic who leads from David Francis for 3.4 seconds. We'll keep an eye on Argo Todet, who has lost Bart DeVos by about a second now. He's a second and a half away from David Francis. We'll see whether he can cut that lap time down. Bart DeVos then P4. And Thomas Hinds has started to pull away from the two Adonai. And I don't know about you, but and I'm talking to everyone at home, of course, but I think that Ruud Heesterbeek is holding up his teammate quite badly here. Sven de Vries has been glued to the rear of Heesterbeek for about a couple of laps now. But of course, the thing is, Ruud is the closest one in terms of winning that Drivers' Championship, and I'm sure that his teammate wouldn't want to upset the apple cart, as the case may be. Wolfgang Hans is currently occupying P8. He's been in a good little performance, actually. You never know how things will go on your first race of the new league, but for Wolfgang Hans, it's looking very nice indeed. German, I believe. If he's not German, I'd be shocked. But knowing my luck with guessing nationalities, he's probably going to be Swedish or something. I mean, I think of Dino Paolini and the fact that he's German. So whatever you are, Wolfgang, it's a good job so far. Tom Parker then P9, and rounding out the top 10, Adam Maguire in P10. Although he's got the fast catching Jeffrey Fournier behind him in P11. I'm just looking back to Brewster. That was a good time to look back to him. Brewster went very wide there at turn 16 Stavolo, and the left rear of his car just caught the inside, what's it called? The Teflon barrier, I think it is, or whatever it's called. It's a barrier nonetheless. And because of that mistake, he's been relegated right to the back of the field, down to P17. So not the race that Brewster would have been hoping for. And it looks like that severely damaged his car. Yeah, it's really crabbing a lot now. So it's either going to be the end of the day for Brewster, or he'll be lucky to get that fixed.
That was a nasty one, but it's so easy to do that, actually. I recall to World Endurance this year where Aston Martin did exactly the same thing, and the car was a complete write-off, so he's lucky to escape with just a bit of suspension damage, I think.
The pits he goes anyway, so just thinking as well, 10 to 15 reverse grid for race 2, you're going to want to be not in that in the two that aren't in the top 15 to 20 years. It looks like Sven de Vries has been let by Ruud Heesterbeek, and truth be told, I don't think that's exactly a bad decision. Heesterbeek in this position, he's currently 2 seconds clear of Wolfgang Hans. He's going to be scoring a solid 9 points. And just consider it this way. 4 races from the start of today to the end of the championship. 37 points to make up. 9 times 4 is 36. So even if he's finishing in 7th in this race, he'll probably get a little bit of a good, a better starting position, I should say, for race 2. You can always do things with no weight bars, so it's not, it's not all lost for the Dutchman, even if he was to finish here, and it'll allow Sven de Vries to try and go on up the road and at least try and stop the massive dent that Bobble Racing are putting into the team's championship. A 1-2 still, and looking ever more dominant. Though that said, Argo Todet has caught up to David Frančić within 8/10 now, and he is dragging Bart DeVos with him as further down, it looks like Daniel Benefield's been off the road, because Randu Muru's up to P14, and it looks like Philip Morby, Philip Morby just going through on Chris Shepherd there, and that was into Stavolo 1, a lovely move from the Englishman. But it looks to me as if Argo Todet and Bart DeVos are starting to catch up David Frančić here, who has enjoyed plenty of success at this circuit in the past. But he's got arguably a more important job to do here now, because he's got to fend off the two guys who might look to put pain to Niki Djakovic's first win of the season. We're already on lap 5 of 10, already halfway there, as it looks like Adam Maguire and Jeffrey Fournier are in a bit of an altercation. They stay afloat, and Chris Shepherd and Philip Morby still going at it. Looks like Chris Shepherd is back through on his compatriot. A little from the cameraman suggests that might not have been as clean as everyone would have hoped it for. And there goes Philip Morby diving down the inside of turn 1. You're going to have to get a good exit there, though, and nothing doing. Randu Muru eyeing up potential shenanigans to take more points for Enterprise. Whilst we look back to Francic, Tadare and De Vos, and the gap is now 0.6 of a second between Francic and Tadare, and De Vos is only 0.4 away from Tadare as well. So this battle for the podium really starting to heat up now. Is actually, I say it's a good track for Francic. It's a good track for Tadare as well, who took a race win here after a number of post-race penalties. So he has the luck of the circuit. Francic has some good pace round here, and Bart De Vos can always throw up a surprise as well, of course, and I'm sure that YDF1 would love another podium, of course, to add to their collection. Keep an eye on Thomas Hinz as well, actually, who we were talking about him getting clear of the own eye a little while ago. He's starting to catch up on this pack as well, and the Australian, who has a couple of podiums to his name already, will surely be wanting a couple more as well by season's end, just to put more rise to his stock. But every single lap that goes by, Niki Djakovic continues to extend out that advantage. 5.6 seconds now, the gap between himself and his teammates. So we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. Back to P9 we'll go. And we'll look at Tom Parker here, who's currently the only scoring Epic racing car as well on what is team owner Lee Davidson's birthday. So happy birthday to you, Lee. I'm sorry what's happened to Cam. Hopefully we'll see a good fight here between Tom Parker and Adam Maguire, who's relatively new to the league, of course, along with one of the newer teams in the paddock, Hinz Motorsport. They've been here since last year with the Atlantic Series, but really starting to fledge out in full force now. And Tom Parker doing a decent job just keeping Maguire behind for now. But the Australian looks hungry, and we've got to keep an eye on Jeffrey Fournier in the background as well, who's starting to catch up. Whilst back in the midfield here of the top 10, Ruud Heesterbeek's just gotten back past Ben de Vries. And so it looks like whatever tactic was going on there, it hasn't worked. And Ben de Vries certainly wasn't pulling away from his pseudo-compatriot. So why not let Ruud back past? It gives him another point. We'll see whether they can't try and catch up again to the top 5. It's looking more and more unlikely that they will be doing it, though. And realistically, they should just be looking to keep ahead of the ice-cold racing car of Hans there, who I'm sure would love a top 6 on his debut here in the league. Right. Battle for the podium is on well and truly now, and Argo Tadare, he's lost Bart De Vos a little bit, and he's starting to pile on the pressure onto the P2 position, which he started this race from, remember. He lost 2 positions on the first lap. I'm sure he'd love to get that position back, of course. A little bit of a slide out of Bruxelles through the corner with no name. I think it was a good save there, actually, from Tadare, looking closely at it. And they're heading up through one now, as I see a bit of further battling down below. It's Randu Muru and Philip Morby. It looks like Muru's just gone around the outside of Lacombe. I think Morby's just about being able to save that position for himself, though, although Muru on the inside, no, nothing going there. But good little battles going on throughout the field. Back up to the podium then. I'll go to there, putting the Croatian under all sorts of pressure here, of course. And this position is still important for Francic. It might not matter so much to him where he finishes second or third in comparison to Heesterbeek. I mean, Heesterbeek is still behind him at this point in terms of the Drivers' Championship. But for the Teams' Championship, I'm sure Vodball would, A, love a 1-2 anyway, but B, they'd want to make sure that they get that Teams' Championship done and dusted as early as possible. They don't want to be waiting until the final round in Monza to have that Teams' Championship belt. So along to the bus stop chicane we go once again. I'll go to there, tucked up into the slipstream of David Francic. He needs to nail the bus stop chicane well here. Look at Bart De Vos as well, getting closer, getting very close, and I'll get to there using a lot of track there to try and field his way out. There's not much point in overtaking into turn 1 here, especially considering the run up to Lacombe. as Adam Maguire and Tom Parker going into contact. And oh, it looks like Adam Maguire's round, actually, sorry. So Tom Parker stays in P9, Jeffrey Forney up to P10. But let's look at Argo to there now. Tucked up into the slipstream of David Francic. Does he have the setup? Does he have the wings? Does he have the exit to try and attack him into Lecombe? It's a good Oroge. Both of them cutting Oroge, of course, but Argo to there. He's looking good anyway. They both cut it, so arguably both of them are in the wrong. Both of them are on equal standing here. Argo to there goes ahead on the straight. Will he break later? Yes, he does. Argo to there. Whether you want to call it illegal or not, he's taken P2. David Francic down to P3. And he's got to be very, very careful now because Bart de Vos is in P4 and ready to pounce if David Francic makes a mistake. And look at Thomas Hinz. And oh, David Francic misses his braking zone massively there. And he might allow the Belgian in here at what is his home circuit, of course. Looking around the outside of the corner with no name. There's really no way around there, to be fair. So that's some good defending there from Francic. A little bit sketchy, but good nonetheless. But look at Thomas Hinz. He's right with them now. He can see a podium right in front of him. And any mistake from Francic or de Vos will surely be capitalised on by the Australian. He's right with them now. Look at the pace he's carrying through there as Bart de Vos drives up the inside of the S section. This is going to be a great move if he can pull it off around the outside. No. David Francic has the drive. And now look at Thomas Hinz right with him. Will he look around the outside of Stavlo? He's going to be there. De Vos has to grant him some room. Great battling from these three as Argo to there races on up the road. But the battle for third position still well and truly on. And David Francic, he suffered a bit of a lack of form in Super Cup recently. That form has not dropped in World Sports Series. He's usually been very, very consistent. Always in the fight for podium, as he is now. But he's looking under a lot of threat here as Bart de Vos goes massively wide off at Blanchimont. And that might put him under a bit of risk here. From Thomas Hinz into the bus stop chicane. No, he goes a little defensive. But Thomas Hinz is unable to do anything. As Ruud Hastenbeek behind. He's actually starting to pull away from Sven de Vries. I can't believe that Sven's having a worse race with less weight ballast. But there we are. And Wolfgang Hans is right there to try and put pressure on the American as well. Lap 8 of 10. This race flashing by. And it should be noted, actually, there's a massive 8-second gap between 8th and 9th currently. So a clear divide in the quality of the field here today. Tom Parker 9th, Fournier 10th, Maguire 11th, of course, after that spin. Shepard 12th, Muru 13th, Benefield 14th, and Morby currently rounding out the final point-paying positions. Pestovs and Brewster still going round, still unlapped, of course, and Niki Jakovic leading by 8 seconds from Argo to there. And that is your story so far, as David Francic was able to stay ahead of Bart de Vos for this lap after the Kemmel Straight. That's the real danger moment, as Andrei Pestovs actually has just overtaken Philip Morby, who's just come into the pits, which the cameraman suggests contact somewhere. It might be fuel. Anything is possible. We won't speculate. But either way, Andres Pestovs, who has not scored a point all season, now inherits P15. And I'm pretty sure the Latvian hasn't scored points in anything in recent years. So it would be lovely to see him get something out of today, even if it is just 1 point, of course, of Viking, who've had a really troubled campaign once again. Going back up then to Bart de Vos, it looks like his little challenge on David Francic has come to a swift end, and Thomas Hinz now looking more likely to overtake the Belgian, and the Belgian to overtake the Croatian. I think David Francic is more interested. Oh no, catching up to Argo Tadeo, who's spun round. It's a half spin, and it's been a consistent theme over his campaign all year long. Mistake after mistake, big points thrown away, and just like that, Argo Tadeo has gone down from 2nd to 5th. It's another mistake from Argo Tadeo. And it may mean less weight in race 2, but he's going to be kicking himself, that's for sure. So David Francic back up into P2. That's great news for Vod Bull. Bart de Vos into the podium, P3. Thomas Hinz into P4. And now he's got Argo there to battle once again. Argo looking mightily fast through the bus stop chicane. I'm not sure how long Hinz is going to be able to hold on to that. But look at Hastenbeek as well now. Those little moments of worry for Argo and Thomas in trying to avoid each other has brought the Dutchman right into contention. Penultimate lap of this race, 9 of 10. We'll keep an eye onto there. I think he's most likely to overtake Hinz into Lacombe. He's right with the Australian as we speak and going up through there. Oh, Hinz, oh my word, I can see why Argo went wide that time, and Hinz is off the circuit. He looked incredibly leery up there, and Argo to there, he tried to avoid him as far left as he could without hitting the wall. Contact inevitable. Thankfully for Hinz, no parts lost in the car, and it looks like he's all in one piece, but for Argo to there, it's meant double trouble as he goes into contact with De Vries now, and De Vries forces him off the circuit. Wolfgang Hans up into the top 5, and well, we were talking, and Tadeu's actually fully round. And is he beached? He's beached. Oh, he's going again, but oh, and he's just idiot. Absolute idiocy. You can't do that when rejoining a circuit. I'm sorry. You can't do that when rejoining a circuit, especially at that point. It's stupidity. I'm sorry. But anyway, back up to Hans then, who's in P5. He's loving all of this. Everybody falling off the circuit in front of him. And it's looking very good. A Hastemate, by the way, up into 4th. Didn't even notice that, but it's all worked out perfectly for Adonis Engineering. With maybe the exception of De Vries, who still has to get past Hans. Hinz, thankfully, back on into P7. It was a scary moment for him. No parts lost, though. Parker 8th. Fournier 9th. Shepard then up into 10th. Maguire 11th. Today, back on the road in 12th. Just ahead of Randu Muru 13th. Benefield 14th. And Pestov's still there in P15. Is DeVos really close to Francic? My timings suggest so. My laptop... There we go. My laptop's with it now. Yeah, it's looking pretty close between these two now, actually. Hans and De Vries is actually pretty close as well. No move from DeVos into the bus stop chicane. And no move from De Vries into the bus stop chicane either. But it's final lap time. And it looks like Maguire's had a bit of an off again. He's lost position to Argo to there now, who goes through into P11, goes well off the circuit. He's missing a front bumper, so that's to be expected, I guess. But Niki Jakovic is now on the final lap. We haven't talked about him much because there's been really not much to talk about him. He's 10.3 seconds clear, though, looking very good. We look back behind him, though, to the podium. And whether Bart Vos can overtake David Franch. And he's a little too far behind. Massive flashpoint with Argo to there. It's all fallen a bit apart as I noticed that Muru actually got past more. And has someone just disconnected? Or am I going mad? I'm going mad. Never mind me. David Franchic holding on from Bart the Boss. And Hans holding on from De Vries. Like I say, it's a waiting game now. It's a waiting game to see which ones can make it. At Stavolo 2, and it looks like, yeah, he's missing a large portion of his car there, Jeffrey. So that allows the two enterprises of Tadera and Muru more positions. Hastemate P4, 13 points out of 37 completed. That's great for him. Hans, top 5 on debut. Ice Cold will be delighted with that. Sven De Vries comes home P6. Hinz P7 after that leery moment through a Rouge. Tom Parker takes P8 with Chris Shepard from the back of the grid, P9. Argo to there after an eventful race and so much lost once again, P10. Randu Mura on debut, P11. Adam Maguire takes in P12 after a couple of mistakes. Jeffrey Fournier after that massive crash, P13. Daniel Benefield after an eventful race, P14. And coming home to take his first point of the season, and if I'm to be believed, a couple of years as well. Andres Pestovs, the Latvian, takes 1 point for Viking Racing. Everyone finishing, by the way, the two non-scorers, Philip Morby and Cameron Brewster. And so, just to remind you all at home then, the weight ballast, of course, transfers over. So, Jakovic will now inherit 45 kilograms of weight ballast from 0. Francic will go up from 27 to 36 kilograms of weight ballast. De Vos will go up from 0 to 27 kilograms. Hastemate will go down from 36 to 18 kilograms, and Hans on his debut will also pick up weight ballast, 9 kilograms from 0 for him. And of course, we've got the reverse grid to consider. Your contenders for this round are Tadere, Muru, Maguire, Fournier, Benefield, and Pestovs. It would be great to see Pestovs on the front row, let me tell you that now. Oh, excuse me. Got a bit of indigestion. Not good, is it? But yes, very, very eventful race. And unfortunately, I do fear that there are going to be a number of penalties coming a certain number of drivers' way after a bunch of off-track excursions, unsafe re-entries onto track, barging everywhere. Not the most memorable race in World Sports Series history, nor the cleanest. But in terms of importance to the championship, it could be very, very much so just that, since Ruud Hasterbeek, as I say, he's picked up 13 points out of 37. So, just to translate to you guys, if he wins race 2, he takes the lead of the championship. And of course, keep in mind that David Franchish has actually gained up 7 points on Hasterbeek himself, and he was, 24 points behind Ruud at the start of the evening, so he's now 17 points behind Ruud. It's getting close. It's getting close. I'll take a bit of a drink. It's hard talking on your own. Which I know sounds incredibly silly, since as a commentator I should usually have a motor mouth, but it's difficult, I promise. Right then. So, I might actually see if my laptop decides to comply with me. Yes! I wonder if I can go. This is dangerous, by the way. I'm going to see whether I can't see what the stream's saying. This is really dangerous, because I'm sure that my laptop might melt down. But it's okay, we got Willis in reserve. I mean, well,
that's not a good thing.
Well, I mean, you're able to fill in early doors for me on that race, so you know it's all right. What did you personally think of the race? I mean, is it? I mean, you can't really look past Niki Jakovic for driver of the day, but apart from that, especially from a DC point of view, not exactly the best advertisement.
I thought Jakovic, first race here, we all know he was going to be quick, and he's proven just that. It'll be interesting to see what he's like with the weight, because obviously he hasn't had that experience. So, and of course, reverse grid, he's going to be in the midfield as well. So I don't know. From a DC standpoint, there's quite a lot of cutting. I can see some very long evenings. And obviously I won't comment on all the incidents, but there are some things that will be looked into from certain drivers. But on the whole, I thought there was some okay racing in there. It's definitely not some of the best racing we've seen this season, but certainly not some of the worst.
You know what? I would absolutely agree with that. Definitely not some of the worst. And especially when you look over the history of the World Sports Series as well. There has been some shockers. There has been some absolute shockers. But I am really curious to see how Jakovic does with this weight, since, as I say, as I've aforementioned, we've seen Anthony Al-Sapti with 45 kilograms come in, brand new driver, wins a race, gets the weight on. Canada's a very different circuit to Belgium, though, isn't it? I mean, with Canada, you've got circuits which you're going from low gears to high gears. You're relying a lot on the top speed, whereas here, yes, you do have those sorts of corners as well, but there's a lot of long corners where it's not so bad.
Yeah, weight here definitely is a hindrance, as opposed to a mild help at a place like Montreal where you need it for acceleration, and it does sometimes help you with the braking as well. Here, though, I've obviously, being manager of Drag, I've spoken to the drivers, and they've said they're marginal on tyres towards the end. They're really going through the tyres. So, with that added weight, you're going to be putting more stress on the tyres through corners like Eau Rouge, Blanchimont. So, there's the chance that he could really struggle for tyres here towards the end. And that's, that could be a field-wide thing. It could explain some of the drop of maybe even hints his slide through the top of Eau Rouge. Could have been as the tyres started to go off. So, who knows? We'll see. But, I think the tyres will have a bit of a big effect.
Let's have a look here. So, Ardo Algipus. I noticed you're actually, or Algipus. I'm sorry if I've absolutely butchered your name there, Ardo. I did notice you practicing on the server early. He says, I'm always streaming alone for eval. It's absolutely normal. I presume that's the Estonian league, where, of course, I go to there. And a number of Estonians, the Estonian Revolution from last year, of course. That's where they all hopped off from. And he says absolutely normal for him to stream alone. I guess so. It's not so normal for me. I usually have someone beside me. And Mr. Stephen McCready, who should be beside me in the commentary booth. James, that was one of the loneliest things I've ever heard in commentary. Well, I'm glad that someone's heart does go out for me. I do have Mr. Willis here, so I'm not totally alone. It's like, hey! But yes, it's difficult commentating on your own. Like, especially when you have someone usually to bounce off. It's bizarre. Anyway, Daniel Benefield says, do you want me to commentate while driving, James? No. No, we've already gone over this, Dan. you concentrate on your driving, mate.
It would be fun. It would be fun, though.
It would be fun. Well, no, I'd like to do something which you have in the British Touring Car Championship, where if it's like a warm-up lap, or if there was a safety car period where you could just go into a team chat and sort of do an interview from there. But it's very difficult because A, we don't do safety cars in sim racing, with the one exception of ovals from last year, and B, people generally like to be in the zone when it comes to warm-up laps as well. So that's why we tend not to do it. And, of course, Vobble Racing, fantastic work. Nikki and David. Dan says, I've done it before. Well, there's a first time for everything, Dan, and I'm not sure I'm ready for my first time, unfortunately. I'm not sure I'm ready. Oh, hold on. Has the reverse grid been called? Benefield
It certainly has.
Oh, no, Andrej. I'm so sorry. So that's number 14 then for those at home. Andrej Pestov's the only person in the top 15 to miss out on pole position. Of course, he does miss out with Philip Morby and Cameron Brewster, who finished 16th and 17th. But that means that our front few rows will be Benefield, Fournier, Maguire, Muru, Heder, Shepherd, which is a very mixed bag. But I must say, actually, out of that lot, things must look very good for Jeffrey Fournier, who has capitalised on good positions like this plenty of times before. We've got a couple of minutes of warm-up left then. I think I might just stream. We could have had Nicky interviewed with this large lead. Probably. I mean, he had enough on, what was it, 11 or 12 seconds by the end of it? As I don't think he's going to have that lead in race 2, though. Just a feeling. But yeah, I mean, we look at this reverse grid then. Benefield, Maguire, the two Hinses up there. I'm sure Thomas is going to be loving that. Of course, we've got the two Enterprises in there, the two Apexes in there. So, yeah, we've got 3 distinctive teams, all vying for big positions here. And then, of course, got all of the fast guys behind them. But let's see. From P9 to P13 because of mistake, 2 corners to the end. Yeah, we saw that, Jeffrey. We saw that. Real shame. I'm mugged by Muru and Teder. But there we are. There we are. I'm going to close the stream now, I think. Dan saying, damn it, Jeffrey, you've messed up a Hin's front row. Which is very true, actually. If Fournier had finished where he would have, had he not had that accident, it would have been a Hin's front row, followed by an Enterprise row 2. We also welcome to the room, actually, Naranjan Kumar. He's had internet issues all throughout the evening, but he's back for Sadev. So that's another car to add to my collection. The terrible Jim this quote. Where on earth? This is what happens when you leave me alone. This is what happens when you leave me alone. You get awful commentary like this, where I randomly quote Styles. But we've got 30 seconds to go. Mr. Willis, looking at those front few guys, do we think this is potentially Fournier's race to lose? Or do we think that probably neither the Apexes, nor the Enterprises, nor the Hinses are going to be looking for any big points here?
I'd say it's Fournier's race to lose, but do we remember Daniel Benefield back at Austria race 2 when he gave Risto Capit a run for his money?
We do certainly remember Dan Benefield back at Austria race 2 where he gave Risto Capit a run for his money. Very good defensive driving, but then again, Red Bull Ring a very, very different circuit to Spa.
True, very true. I was about to say, don't discount him for a good defensive drive.
I think this first lap's actually going to be pretty crucial. If any of the small fry can get a good getaway, then they might be on for a shot of a top 5. If not, then they might find themselves falling down the order. I mean, remember how big the gap was, of course, between the top 8 and then everyone below them. It was something by 10 to 12 seconds in the end. So, you know, there's clearly a divide between the top and the bottom caliber. And then you think of Tadera, of course, he wouldn't be in that position if he hadn't, like, I know he was at fault for spinning around at Stabilo 2, but then he was caught up in that Hinz incident and it all went downhill from there, didn't it? So if he's able to have a solid race, I mean, he won race 2 here last year. That's a fact. Might he be able to repeat the feat? I tell you what, considering the field around him, he's actually got a pretty good chance. But anyway, enough small talk. It is time for race 2. And hopefully we will not have a repeat of last time, where I was able to commentate for one lap, and then that's your lot. Daniel Benefield leads us off on pole position then for Hinz Motorsport. He's followed by Jeffrey Fournier, arguably the favourite going into this race. We then have Anne Maguire, Benefield's teammate P3, and they're followed by the 2 enterprises of Muru and Tadare. The skies have just gotten very dark, I noticed as well. I didn't expect rain today. And I don't... Well, we'll wait and see. Either way. Parker is then P6 with Hinz P7. De Vries is P8. And then we begin our weight ballast bound drivers. Wolfgang Hans P9 with 9 kilograms. Ruud Heestebeek, who, remember, if he wins this race, takes the lead of the championship, he's got 18 kilograms of weight ballast and rounds out the top 10. Bart de Vos is 11th with 27 kilograms, with David Francic P12 and 36 kilograms. Our race one winner, Niki Jakovic, has got 45 kilograms, and he starts from P13. And Andrei Pestov's P14, which means we're missing someone. We're missing Chris Shepard, aren't we? So Chris Shepard not joining us today, unfortunately. Philip Morbihan starting P15 for Drake Racing. And then rounding our TAR 17 car grid once again, then is Cameron Brewster. And Naranjan Kumar coming in for the second race for sports car driving evolution. There we go. I got the name right eventually. That's a shame for Shepard. He was due to start P6. Quite a lovely position, and I'm sure that Stefan's not going to be very happy with that, unfortunately, given that he is Apex's team leader. The team manager, that's the correct term, isn't it? But those dark skies do worry me, Mr. Willis. Did you read anything about possible rain today?
So, the forecast said 0% rain, but we must bear in mind this is Spa, where it practically exists in a microclimate, so... Forecasts tend to be very sketchy for places like this.
Those are very grey clouds. Those are very grey clouds. A bit of rain would spice it up a treat. Not that it didn't need any more spicing up, of course, but...
It would be like the cherry on top of the proverbial cake, wouldn't it?
It would be indeed. It would be indeed. Love a bit of cake. Got me hungry now. Oh well. Just rounding the final sector here with Benefield. Basically, looking at that top 10, it's either going to be Fournier, Tadare, or one of the top 5 from last race for me. I don't see anybody else taking. Maybe Hinzi at a stretch. We go over it time and time again. It is all about the start here. If you get a good exit off of turn 1, then you're going to be grand going into the Kemmel Straight. If you don't, then you're going to get absolutely mugged. Thank you to Mike Pittman, team owner of Vobble Racing. 3% rain on the forecast.
Ooh, that's changed. That has changed in the last hour.
So it won't. So even if it was to rain, then it wouldn't be wet tyre worthy, but it'd certainly be slippery.
It would make what is already a tyre limited track even harder.
Lovely. So much promise, so much excitement. Hopefully we get a good race to match. So, of course, we're missing the grid slot with Chris Shepard. A nice open run for Hinzi. We've got 3, 4 and 5 lights, though. And here for the second time at Spa, we're off the way. And what a launch from Daniel Benefield. That was off the line like an absolute rocket. And into turn 1 he goes. Oh, what was that from Argo Tadare, forcing Jeffrey Fournier off. That was terrible driving. And oh, contact with Randu Muru there. Lots of drivers in grief. Oh, dearie me. Enterprise single-handedly there, causing a lot of problems. But Daniel Benefield then leads us off from the front. I'm not sure about red flag yet because nobody's retired. But either way, That's probably going to be a penalty for a lot of drivers. Parker and De Vries out already, but Benefield off like a rocket, looking good. Fournier, he was able to recover very nicely, actually, still there in P3. Argo today, not giving him back the position, not good driving for the second round in a row, this time standards-wise. Adam Maguire, P4. Wolfgang Hans up to P5. Once again, he's had a great launch. Hastebeek 6th. Francic 7th. Brewster up in 8th from the back of the grid. Philip Morby 9th. Great launches from then. And Niki Jakovic, who was caught up in the middle of all that, P10. So Jakovic able to avoid all of that. Hinz 11th. Kumar 12th. DeVos 13th. Muru missing all of the parts on his car 14th. And Pestov's just missing his front bumper there, P15. So if everyone finishes the race from now on, they will have scored a point. So it's something. Either way, back to the front then. Daniel Benefield leads this race by 0.8 of a second. But we've got Teder and Fournier, the two drivers who we thought were going to be battling for the lead if they got good launches, up there once again. To be fair, I might have jumped to conclusions with Teder. I'm not too sure whether Fournier turned him across him. It looked to me like it was a very late dive from Teder that came off very badly. But either way, this could be a very feisty fight, especially if they're battling over the leaders. Behind, here goes Wolfgang Hans down the inside of Adam Maguire before they've even hit Blanchimont. Wolfgang Hans, the German, on a mission. What a great opening foray from Hans here. And look at Hastebeek there as well, looking very good on lap 1 of 10. Round the final chicane we go there. Oh, Benefield almost losing it out of the chicane. Under all sorts of pressure on lap 1. Does he even lead? He does lead at the end of lap 1, but only just from Teder, Fournier, Hans, Hastebeek, Maguire, Francic, Brewster, Jakovic, and Morby rounding out the top 10. As oh, look at Argo pushing him off again. I think that was just about legal from Argo. I think Benefield was just within, but look at Fournier. Really good, opportunistic driving. Rightly taking back P1, I think. Oh, contact, though, going into a Rouge. That wasn't good. And Benefield there's going to take back P3. Argo today coming back onto the second. Here goes Hans up onto the podium. What a great couple of laps. It's not even been 2. It's been 1 and a little bit laps from Wolfgang Hans. Inspired drive. And Argo today has just been mugged by Ruud Hastebeek as well. Up into 4th as here goes Hans for P2 there. Jeffrey, oh, Benefield's actually retaking the lead. Never mind me. Fournier goes across the curbs. Is getting... Oh, no, that's not where you want to rejoin. And there goes Argo Teder up the inside of Hastebeek. It's a bit scrappy, but at the end of it all, Benefield now back in the driving seat. But look at Wolfgang Hans having an absolute storm of a race. Muru, Pestovs, Hinz, all in the pits, by the way. As Benefield, he's got how many people are in this train? He goes all the way down to David Francic in P7. But absolutely manic stuff from the entire field, it must be said. Daniel Benefield just about staying ahead. Hans, though, from nowhere it seems, with 9 kilograms of weight ballast, remember, in a prime position to take a win for Ice Cold Racing. There goes Adam Maguire up the inside of Ruud Hastebeek. That's a great move from Maguire as well. Hastebeek down to P6. Francic down P7. Remember, Francic, he's got an important job to do here as well. Try and peg back Hastebeek from taking as many points as he can as we go around Stavolo now with what is very much the top 7. Argo today going very wide there again. He's not having the best of days, is he? But here goes Hans. Here goes Hans. He goes to the outside. He feints to the inside. Daniel Benefield keeping it dead center down the middle. Hans on the inside now. Here goes Fournier as well, looking for a way past. Towards the bus stop chicane we go. Will anybody go for a late dive? Oh, there is a late dive from Fournier, and that's just caught Hans out massively. Fournier and Hans go into contact. It looks like Fournier, good driving from him. Oh, no, and that's a poor rejoin from Hans. Argo today round again. Nothing he could do that time. Fournier actually was very sportsmanlike in giving the position back to Hans, but Argo today, another one down the drain, down to P10 he goes as Ruud Hastebeek around the outside of turn 1. Adam Maguire looking better and better for him, but Daniel Benefield now 1.2 seconds clear. Mind you, it's only lap 3 of 10. There is plenty of time to go. P2, Hans. P3, Fournier. And Fournier goes well off the track there at Eau Rouge as well. It's going to allow Hastebeek onto the podium. And I tell you what, I wasn't thinking that a win for Hastebeek would be really on for this race. All of a sudden, I think it is very much so. The man with 18 kilograms of weight ballast, unable to get past Fournier, this time of asking. Meanwhile, though, David Frančić around the outside of Adam Maguire into Lecom. Really nice move from the Croatian. The two still going side by side on exit of turn 9 as well, as Bart de Vos is out the race with suspension damage. David Frančić, though, he's made it stick. He's up into P5, Maguire down to P6 there. As Benefield now starting to extend his gap on Hans. That is not something that we were expecting. Heestebeek, meanwhile, really starting to put pressure as Maguire, goes wide there off the road at the corner with no name. Niki Jakovic in P7 looking to capitalise. He's in P7. But looking back to Heestebeek, this is important. This is for the podium. This is for 60. But going turn 7 towards Bloncham then. Muru 13th with all the parts on his wagon again. And Pestovs, he's going to overtake De Vos, who's retired at some point. So he would be our final point scorer in P14. Looking back to Heestebeek and Fournier then. The battle for the podium. That's a great Eau Rouge from Heestebeek. And once again, Fournier goes off the circuit. Heestebeek goes into the slipstream. He pulls out of the slipstream. Does he go ahead on the straight? This is the crucial thing. Will he brake late enough? Frančić waiting. Not able to do anything. Heestebeek is, though. He is into third place. Past Jeffrey Fournier. That is a move that he needed to do early on. It's lap 4 of 10, remember. So he's still got over half the race left to actually take the lead of the championship. 3.4 seconds away from Daniel benefiting him at this current, helping the Dutchman rather than Age. Remember, Frančić, as Fournier goes wide there in Stavolo. And that gifts P4 to David Frančić. The Frenchman down to P5. Although that said, he might be able to bite back through Blanchimont and into the bus stop chicane. He's already gaining a bit of speed on the Croatian. He pulls into the slipstream once again, keeping close to the inside of the track as we head through Blanchimont now. Turn 18 once again. They're clipping it very nicely, keeping in the circuit. Adam Maguire goes wide behind with Niki Jakovic there as well. Into the bus stop chicane. Frančić goes defensive. No attacking there from Fournier. But look at Maguire and Jakovic. They are right with this fight as well now. So big points up on offer. And for Hinds and for Apex, the two teams, they're vital points as well that could help them out so much in that midfield battle in the team's championship. Daniel Benefield still leads by 1.5 seconds. Hans has not been able to close him down, coming to the halfway point of this race. Lap 5 of 10. The gap we're interested in, most importantly though now, is Ruud Heestebeek to the lead. He brought it down by 3/10 over the last little bit of a lap that he had there. I'm just going to have a little look at how much faster he was through Sector 1. He's brought it down by another 10th, so the gap is closing. It's further down the order. Argo Tadare takes Philip Morby for P9, and further back I think Niki Jakovic was trying to overtake Adam Maguire. It didn't come off for him though. So Jakovic stays in P7, but yeah, Tadare through to P9 then. Further 4 seconds up the road is Cameron Brewster. Everybody else behind is not really doing much. I think Andrzej Pestovs is actually letting drivers through. That's good back marking from Pestovs. Daniel Benefield flashes his lights for some reason. I think he can notice that Hans is starting to close the gap. He's going to have to put those defensive boots on sooner or later. Again, I think Ruud Heestebeek now within 3 seconds of the lead to the Adonis driver. He is closing. Yeah, it's happening as Niki Jakovic has actually fallen off the back of the battle for P5 now. Fournier versus Maguire, the order of the day. I believe Scotsman versus Frenchman for certain. And oh my word, Fournier really straddling the curbs, going wide on the curbs. And this might allow Maguire around the outside of Stavolo. And once again, it's into Stavolo where Fournier falters. Maguire takes P5. Fournier down to P6. And so it's a Hinds Motorsport 1-5. They're having an absolute field day at the moment. I was saying that one of the teams might come out looking pretty good. And so far, it's the Australian outfit. Now Niki Jakovic looking to capitalise on Fournier's fall down the order as Maguire goes very wide there actually on the exit of Blanchimont. Down to the bus stop chicane we go though, and Niki Jakovic, he's being safe. He's doing what Risto Capit has done so well throughout the entirety of this campaign. He doesn't make moves unless he knows it's for absolute certain that he's going to make them stick. P7 is good points for the team. He's not in the championship. That's all he needs to do for now. 1 second the gap between Hans and Benefield. 2.6 seconds the gap between Benefield and Hastebeek. The podium compresses once more. Frančić really all on his own now in P4 though, as Maguire leads the battle for P5. Fournier and Jakovic behind him through Eau Rouge once again. Jakovic hooked up into the slipstream of Fournier. Fournier into the slipstream of Maguire. I do not think we're going to be seeing any moves into Lecombe once again. Jakovic is going to have a little peek out, but nothing doing for now. Everyone just going line astern. Bruce is still in P8, Tadare P9, Morby 10th with Kumar 11th, Hinz 12th, Muru 13th, and Pestov's still in P14. As the gap between Benefield and Hans is now under a second, I think it's time to focus on the lead for a bit, Mr. Ben. I do know that we have this battle for P5 still going on, but it's pretty evident to me just how close Hans is starting to close up now. He had that little spell of really attacking the leaders, didn't he? He scythed through most of the midfield and the podium with ease, and now he's reached P2. He's had a bit of a change there as Nicky Jakovic is past Jeffrey Fournier. That was through Pouon, and I imagine that the Frenchman got caught out on the outside curb, and so Nicky Jakovic is through into P6 then. An important move for Jakovic there. I believe he's Croatian. Fingers crossed that he is. It'd be 2 Croatian teammates of Vopel then. But now 6 tenths is the gap as Argo Tadare has lost the position to Philip Morby again. Although, oh no, very close. Tadare holds on to that for now. But Benefield is now only 6 tenths ahead of Wolfgang Hans. At the end of this lap, it's going to be lap 7 that we're on. We are getting ever so close to the end. And Daniel Benefield, I'm sure, can sense it. He is on for an outstanding result here in the World Sports Series. But Hans is within striking distance. He is so close now, Wolfgang. 2 people who have never won or podiumed in the World Sports Series before. And who have they got for company 2 seconds behind? The man who's vying for the championship. It is a fascinating prospect as we head through Radion and Eau Rouge for the 7th time of asking. Wolfgang Hans surely going to gain a good bit of slipstream down the Kemmel Straight. And here we go then. He closes. He closes. He looks out. He looks out to the inside, Hans. He's having a little peek. And he's close to within 3 tenths now of Benefield. And my voice is starting to give up on me. There we go. We're all good now, I think. A bit of drink never helps. Or it does help, sorry. Never mind me. Either way, Hans, ever so close. Ever so close. And, oh, looking down the inside there of Bruxelles, not able to do anything. I just noticed Wales as he lost a goal to Portugal as well. Double bad things. Benefield, though, I'm fingers crossed for him. I just want him to come out of this battle okay. Wolfgang Hansen, looking down the inside of Pouon. Not able to do anything. Ruud Hastebeek, still only 2 seconds behind. Wonder just how much that 18 kilograms is affecting him. I really do. I didn't think he would have that much of an effect. Supposedly so. Into Savalo we go then, with Benefield and Hans. The battle for the lead. Hinz versus Ice Cold. They go through line astern, up towards turns 17 and 18 then. Blanchimont coming up. The bus stop chicane as well. One of the only absolute definite positions where you can overtake. And he closes. Look at Wolfgang Hans. He's within the shadow of the Australian. You can... Benefield, if he hasn't looked in his mirrors yet, can probably sense where he is at the moment. And look at that, having to go defensive into the bus stop chicane. Wolfgang Hans looking to go around the outside. Benefield covers off the lino. Good defensive driving once again, carrying on the good work that we saw in Austria. Across the line, it is less than 2 tenths between the two. Benefield just about holding on. But for how much longer can he hold on? Lap 8 of 10. Lap 8 of 10. How long can we go? Ruud Hastebeek now only 1.3 seconds away from the lead. It's getting spicy. It's getting really spicy. Up through Eau Rouge we go once again. Will Hans get a definitive chance to overtake here? This is as good as it has looked all throughout the race. Hans, he's tucked up really nicely. Benefield goes defensive. Hans going to have to go to the outside here of Lecombe. He's going to try around the outside of Lecombe as well. The two go side by side, and Benefield, oh, good defending. Breaks a little bit later, leaves Hans the room, and forces him back into the clutches of Hasterbeek, who is now within a second of the lead. You can throw a blanket over the three of them. I think it's all about who can make the biggest mistake or who can make the best exit out of a corner from now on. It is so close. Such good racing after such a poor start as well. It's great to see the race ending up like this. The three of them go line astern into Pouon. Benefield just about holding on. I'm so proud of him, just from a commentator's perspective, just how much hard work he's having to put in here to keep everybody behind. Through the S's we go then. And I think that Hasterbeek now fancies a bit of Wolfgang Hans' second position there. He's very close. Things could not have gone any better for Benefield at this current situation. Through into the back straight we go now. Up towards Blanchimont. It looks like things have spread out just a little bit for Benefield. A bit of respite. This is what he would want. No Wolfgang Hans directly onto the back of him. It's looking good. It's looking good. Into the bus stop chicane we go then. We're going to be heading on to the penultimate lap of the race, remember. The three of them compressing up. They'll open out once again if they all get good exits. It looks to me like Benefield did not get a good exit though. Onto the first corner we go then. All of them looking so close, and Wolfgang Hans looking for a better exit. Hasterbeek looking for a better exit. They're all tucked up under Benefield's rear wing, ready to pounce as we head towards Radion and Eau Rouge once again. I don't know what way it's going to end up, guys. Hold on to your seats, though. It's going to be painful, I think, for one of these guys. Benefield with the notably worse exit off Eau Rouge. Wolfgang Hans is almost pushing him down the Kemmel Straight. He goes to the outside instantly. He knows this is the only way. Hasterbeek tucked up in there as well, ready to pounce on any mistake. Hans around the outside. He pushes in on Benefield. The two of them come into contact. Hans across the anti-cut, and oh, I'm not sure about that. Oh, almost. Oh, no! Where's Hasterbeek gone? He's off. He's off. Unbelievable. I could see that going painful for someone, and it was painful, and I'm not sure whose fault that was either. Hans, it was a dangerous rejoin. Benefield, unnecessary contact. Hasterbeek, the only party there who was really not at fault for anything. Either way, Hans now in the lead. Francic second. Benefield down to third. Maguire fourth. And Benefield now under all sorts of pressure. Maguire and Jakovic very close here. Jeffrey Fournier in P6. Hasterbeek down to seventh. That's where he's come back on. Oh, dearie me. I'm not sure how things are going to work out here, but I tell you what, if I was David Francic, I'd be very excited. Because I am not too convinced about that Hans rejoin whatsoever. It all had to come to a head, though, didn't it? All had to come to a head. I noticed Maguire's just about holding off the ever-advancing Nicky Jakovic. And, oh, up the inside of Stavlo too here. That's a bold move from Jakovic. Not going to work for him this time, though. And the Croatian's just going to hold on for just a little bit. I don't think Hasterbeek's even going to take P6 at this rate. He's a bit too far behind, unfortunately. But what about Jakovic here? I'm pretty sure he might be able to have a little go at Maguire into the bus stop chicane. Both of them going well off the circuit. And once again, that's something that the DC is going to have to review. Going into the bus stop chicane, though, there's no real attempt to overtake here. They're all just line astern as we're on to the final lap, though. Final lap. Wolfgang Hans. He leads by 6/10 from David Francic, who we've hardly mentioned all race, given that he's been in a world of his own. But I tell you what, he's in with as much chance to win this race, even if it's post-race, than anybody. I did say he had good luck around this circuit before. Benefield third, Maguire fourth, Jakovic fifth. Fournier sixth with Hasterbeek seventh. Brewster also in that battle with P8. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be any other major moves, because everyone's a bit too spread out now. Maybe Jakovic on Benefield. And actually, fair play to Jakovic, who's kept it clean, kept it honest. I mean, 45 kilograms of weight ballast has really shown just how to come back from the midfield with a lot of weight ballast as a newcomer, of course. Nothing doing into Lacombe. He sort of just plants his car behind Maguire, happy to stay where he is, it seems. They're heading down towards Bruxelles then. Again, he's just going to take it easy, it seems, not trying to attack. Daniel Benefield notably slower than when he was up in the lead, that's for sure. Obviously taking a lot out of his tyres, I think, unfortunately. Will Jakovic have a little look into Pool? No, he's not. Never mind. Yeah, everyone just line astern. There's not really much to commentate on now, unfortunately, minus this battle, of course. Into the S section we go. Yeah, everyone just keeping it calm, I think. No real need to worry. Around Stavolo we go then with Benefield, Maguire and Jakovic again. They're very close, but no real looks to overtake. There might be something into the bus stop chicane. Maybe around Blanchimont as well. It looks like Jakovic is quite eager to get something down now, isn't he? All over the back of Maguire. He can see an opportunity. And round Blanchimont we go. I'm just keeping an eye on the leaders. They're just coming up to the bus stop chicane now. Looks like nothing else is doing. Maybe Maguire on his teammate. We're coming around the final corner then. It's debatable whether he's going to hold on to this lead or not after a potentially dangerous rejoin. But Wolfgang Hans, at least provisionally, takes race 2 win here at Spa. David Francic will take home P2. Daniel Benefield 3rd. Maguire 4th with Jakovic 5th. Ruud Heesterbeek will take home another 10 points to his name, but how much better it could have been if he wasn't caught up in that incident. Fournier 7th, Brewster 8th. Today, another race of ifs and buts, P9. Morby 10th, Kumar 11th. Hinz 12th. Moore's already finished a lap down in 13th, and Pestovs will finish a lap down in 14th. So that's your lot. And I think from a personal standpoint, there really wasn't much to talk about in that race either. So I'm not sure about you, Ben. Do you fancy calling it a night now? Do you want to have any words on the race or anything?
Of course, it's down to you as the lead commentator. What I will say is that will not be the final result.
Oh, really?
For not for that incident, but because there's a lot of cutting. I noticed a lot of in-race cutting leading to overtakes and stuff. There were many. Obviously, we had the whole turn 1 first lap debacle, which I think put a bit of a dampener on it. Again, there were some lovely moves actually. I was noticing through that. Sure. And I don't think we shouldn't be taking away from that. But again, I think it was maybe overshadowed by a bit of poor driving from some people. And to any of the drivers who do end up watching this when they rewind, please do protest, because that's the only way we can, improve these standards. And tonight there were a few issues. So I think a combination of cutting and a few contentious issues. I don't think this result will be as it is, but I won't go any further than that.
You heard it here first. I think we will give a couple of interviews here, since I think they're pretty well deserved. We'll keep it nice and short though. I think we'll keep it nice and short for the sake.
You just want to watch the Wales game, don't you? I can tell. I can tell.
Wales have already lost. There's no reason for me to be trying to worry about that sort of thing. I'm just thinking more for, it's one of those broadcasts. It's just one of those broadcasts where things happen. But anyway, let us have a little talk then. Oh, we've got plenty of people. Perfect. Lovely stuff. Well, let's have a little talk then with the man who has replaced Risto Capit for these last couple of rounds then. Niki Jakovic just slotting in. Hi there. Slotting in nice and easily. No real worries whatsoever for you. Win and a top 5, easy pickings.
Yes, the first race was easy because everybody had balance. So yeah, I did not have a hard time to do it, and I was looking forward to the second race, but actually I had a lot of fun in the second race, despite the first lap not very very enjoyable, to say the least. Yeah, there was a few situations I had to take some actions and got the car lucky out in one piece and got the race from there. I have to say this Maguire is a master in defending, so yeah, he took the place. Maybe I would be further up if I managed to pass him, but good job to my teammate David, and yeah.
The Hindenburg seem to be pretty famed for defending nowadays. How have you been finding your first round though at GPVWC? Is it something which you're looking forward to taking part in later in the year? Maybe coming back next year, of course. Has it been a good experience, bad experience overall?
Yes, it's all right. It looks very professional. That's always what I like. To have some rules and clean racing. So that's always beautiful.
Yeah, good words at least. Congratulations on your win and your top 5, Nikki. We'll actually head on over then to your teammate, David Francic. Thank you for joining us. And David, this circuit's provided some good moments for you in the past, and once again, plenty of good points for you and Vobble to take back home today.
Yeah, it was a beautiful race. I couldn't expect any more. And I was really happy when I saw Histerbeek clashing with the guys in front. Nick is a very good driver. He provided me with a good setup, which then gave me a chance to show what I did today. And it's a good thing that we scored a bunch of points today. So we are now very close to securing that team championship title.
Of course, for you personally, though, you're now very much the outsider to take the driver's title as well. We've got only Monza left, and it seems, at least on the form that he is, that Ruud will be overtaking Risto Capis at least. Do you have high hopes going into Monza that you can maybe nick it from underneath his feet, or possibly even save it for your teammate?
Well, I think that would be too optimistic to think. So I'm hoping at least to catch Risto, or to finish at top 4 would be very good.
Looks pretty good for you in that regard so far. Well done on your results once again, David. And we'll then round up with the man who was saying, we can commentate in the car and everything, but I'm kind of glad that he wasn't commentating in the car, because he ended up with an excellent result, a podium for Daniel Benefield, although there was a lot of pretty intense moments throughout that second race, which might have made you think otherwise.
Yeah, well, being overtaken for the lead by cutting the cones, great, isn't it? Anyway, we'll let the DC decide that, I'm sure. But other than that, it was a good race. Went from first to third to first in about a kilometre on lap 2, which is pretty interesting. Watching, I think it was Jeff and I think it was actually Wolfgang as well, that when they went it was Argo. When they went side by side through El Rouge, I had a grin on my face when I saw them trying to do that. That's for sure. But yeah, it was pretty good.
We got to look at the positives, though, right? I mean, it's probably going to be a podium for the team. And actually, I'm quite interested to know. We saw you put on such a great defensive masterclass in Austria Race 2, and once again, we've seen great defending from you today. But how much more, I guess, scary is it doing it from such a high position, from the lead position? Was there any point where you actually thought that you might be able to sneak a win?
You could always sneak a win. But there wasn't really any pressure in reality, because I mean, it's just another position. It's the same position. I mean, yeah, it was in Austria, it was the 6th, but I mean, it was Risto, only the quickest guy in the field essentially. So I mean, it's not very different. It doesn't matter if it's for first or if it's for like 15th. It's I fight the same way for the same position.
Anyway, I actually appreciate a bit of honesty and a bit of, Australian integrity in your answer. It's always good to get a little bit of raw reaction sometimes. In any case, regardless of what happens after the race, well done on your podium. You more than deserve it.
Thanks.
And with that, I think we shall leave it be and let whatever the gods decide happen. The gods, of course, being Ben Willis, Rob Mason. If you want more racing action, then please remember to tune in or next week, I should say, when the career ladder heads to the Hungaroring. We've got Formula Challenge and Open Series on the Tuesday, Super Cup on the Wednesday, and, of course, the Hungarian Grand Prix on the Thursday with the Super League. And in 2 weeks' time, you don't want to miss it. The World Sports Series 2016 finale at Monza. Every single year we go there, it provides a butt-clenching finish. And I'm sure that this year will be no different.
User disconnected from your
I would just
channel.
like to thank my cameraman and part-time co-commentator and part-time lead commentator for today, Ben Willis, for his help on the broadcast. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it is a very warm goodbye.